You are sitting in a parked car at night, and a shadow moves near the tree line. Your heart slams before your mind even forms a thought. Your hands grip the wheel, your breath goes shallow. Then the shadow turns out to be a plastic bag caught in the wind. You laugh it off, but for about 4 seconds, your entire body prepared to fight or run from something that was never a threat at all. That reaction feels irrational. It isn't. The real answer is far stranger. Your brain is still running a hunting and being hunted program built for a world that mostly no longer exists, and it is far more cautious than it needs to be on purpose. Here is why that shadow can still make your body react like your life depends on it, and why that reaction was never designed to be accurate. It was designed to keep you alive. Start with a physiologist named Walter Cannon. In the early 20th century, Cannon studied how animals respond to danger and coined the phrase fight or flight. He discovered that the moment a threat appears, the body doesn't wait for confirmation. Adrenaline floods the bloodstream, heart rate spikes. Blood moves away from digestion and toward the muscles. All of this happens in a fraction of a second before conscious thought has time to catch up. Cannon's key insight was this: the response comes first and the thinking comes second. That ordering seems backwards. Shouldn't you assess a situation before your body commits real resources to reacting to it? Wouldn't it make more sense to think first, then act? It would if the cost of being wrong were symmetrical. It isn't. This is where a researcher named Randolph Nesse comes in. Nesse studies evolutionary medicine, and he described something now known as the smoke detector principle. A smoke detector is built to go off far more often than there is an actual fire. It is annoying. It beeps at burnt toast. It beeps at steam from a shower. That oversensitivity is not a flaw in the design. It is the design. Because the cost of a false alarm is minor irritation, the cost of a missed real fire is death. Your ancestors' threat detection system worked the same way. A rustle in tall grass was almost always the wind. Every so often, it was a predator. Natural selection did not favor the ancestor who calmly waited to gather more information before reacting. It favored the ancestor who flinched at every rustle, every time, without exception. That means you are not descended from the calm, rational calculators of risk. You are descended from the ones who overreacted and survived anyway. Which brings you back to the parked car and the shadow that turned out to be a plastic bag. Your amygdala, a small almond-shaped structure buried deep in your brain, is responsible for this kind of rapid threat assessment. Neuroscientist Joseph LeDoux spent decades mapping how the amygdala processes fear, and he found something remarkable. Sensory information reaches the amygdala through 2 separate pathways. One is a slow route through the cortex, the part of your brain responsible for detailed, accurate analysis. The other is a fast route that bypasses conscious thought entirely. LeDoux called this fast route the low road. It's crude, it's imprecise. It mistakes shadows for predators and bags for danger constantly, but it is fast, and in a world where hesitation could mean death, fast mattered more than accurate. Your amygdala still uses that same low road today, even though almost nothing in your modern environment is actually trying to eat you. So think about what that means for how you experience an ordinary day. A tense email from your boss, a missed call from a number you don't recognize, a stranger walking too closely behind you on the street. None of these are predators. None of these threaten your physical survival in any meaningful way. But your amygdala doesn't know that. It fires the same ancient alarm it would have fired for a genuine predator, because it was never built to distinguish between a lion in the grass and a curt message from your manager. It was only built to react fast and sort out the details later. This is why a single critical comment can dominate your entire afternoon, while 10 compliments from the same day barely register. Psychologist Roy Baumeister documented this pattern extensively and called it negativity bias. Bad events, bad emotions, and threatening information carry more psychological weight than good ones of equal size. Baumeister's research showed this bias appears everywhere. In relationships, where one harsh comment can outweigh several kind ones. In memory, where painful events tend to stick harder than pleasant ones. In decision-making, where the fear of losing something outweighs the pleasure of gaining something of equal value. Why would a mind be built this way? Wouldn't it be more pleasant to weigh good and bad equally? It would be more pleasant. It would also, historically, have been more dangerous. An ancestor who weighed a beautiful sunset and a nearby predator with equal attention was an ancestor who sometimes got eaten while admiring the view. An ancestor who was disproportionately alert to danger, even at the cost of enjoying fewer sunsets, tended to live longer and pass on that same disproportionate alertness. You inherited that imbalance. It's not a personal flaw, it's an inheritance. Now consider what happens when that ancient alarm system meets a modern world with an almost unlimited supply of things that look, to your amygdala, vaguely threatening. Notifications, deadlines, social comparison, financial uncertainty. None of these are predators. All of them can trigger the same physiological cascade Walter Cannon described a century ago: racing heart, shallow breath, muscles primed for action that never comes. Your ancestors' fight-or-flight response was designed to activate occasionally, intensely, and briefly, followed by either genuine danger or genuine relief. Run from the lion or realize it was the wind, then return to calm. Your modern alarm system often activates constantly, mildly, and continuously, with no lion to run from and no true relief in sight. The stress response that once saved your ancestors' lives in short, sharp bursts now simmers quietly in the background of an average Tuesday, triggered by an inbox instead of a predator. Neuroscientist Robert Sapolsky spent years studying this exact mismatch. His research found that chronically activated stress systems firing regularly without the physical action they were built for, contribute to elevated blood pressure, disrupted sleep, and weakened immune response over time. The very system that was built to protect you from short-term physical danger becomes a long-term physiological burden when it never gets to properly switch off. So the next time your heart pounds over a shadow, an email, or a stranger's footsteps behind you, understand what's actually happening underneath it. That is not weakness. That is not overreaction in any meaningful sense. That is 200,000 years of natural selection, still running the same threat detection program that once kept your ancestors alive on a savanna full of real predators, applied now to a world made mostly of shadows and plastic bags. Your brain isn't broken. It's just doing exactly what it was built to do in a world it was never built for. You are sitting in a parked car at night, and somewhere nearby, a shadow moves. Your body responds before your mind even catches up. That isn't fear malfunctioning. That's 200,000 years of survival, still working perfectly, just aimed at the wrong target.